So then, after a decent run of good weeks, round 22 was not a good one for me, as I made a crucial error and also copped a few shocking scores. In the end, I put up a 2250, which set me back 600 ranks to outside the 4,000 mark. So let's go over the team and see where it all went wrong. It began with Naziah Wanganeen Malera, who was my vice-captain, and this was the biggest problem of the weekend. I changed last second from the VC on Marshall to the Wang, which was a huge blunder and would have cost me 17 points. But instead, I decided to make it worse, which you'll see later, by getting greedy and not taking the 118 and instead looking towards Grundy. In the end, this decision lost me 52 points, which is a fair bit. But anyway, the Wang had a very quiet start to the game, which I did not expect, as he found himself on just 38 points by half-time. Thankfully, he came out firing in the second half with 21 touches and 6 marks for 80 points. A good score, although I thought he would have gone better against Richmond. Then we had Lachie Ash, who inexplicably dropped to 29. That was a huge surprise, especially given that he's been praised for his consistency for the last 10 weeks and counting. I didn't watch the game, so I genuinely have no clue what happened to him. He spent pretty much the last quarter on the bench, but even so, this is so out of character given how good he's been all season. Then Josh Dacos also significantly underperformed with just 64 points, which is not what I want to see at all. He had his lowest touches since round 9 with 20 disposals and just 3 marks. Between him and Ash, I lost at least 100 points right here. So along with the captaincy decision, that's already 150 I missed, and it gets worse. Lachie Whitfield also wasn't great with just a 90 despite a pretty good matchup. That's his first down score since he's been back, with 27 touches, 5 marks, and not a whole lot else. In the same game, it was actually Harry Sheasel who did well, which was definitely unexpected with the Giants being the hardest matchup. Harry still managed 31 touches, 7 marks, and 4 tackles, which makes it 5 tons in a row now at an average of 110, which is nice. Then Callum Mills stunk it up again with 73 points, after I got my hopes up in the 3 weeks prior. Mills started really well, on 47 at halftime, but then disappeared for 20-odd in the second half, which was extremely disappointing. He just hasn't been a good pick. Heading over to the midfield, Nick Dacos was quiet against the Hawks, but in fact the whole of Collingwood were quiet, as they were absolutely dominated on the Thursday night. Nick didn't really cop a tag, but still struggled with only 24 touches. His time on ground was down a fair bit with 76%, which is his lowest since round 1. Somehow he's averaging 111 in his last 5, despite 3 bad scores in there, thanks to his impressive ceiling he's shown. Then Marcus Bontempelli continued on his elite run of form with a casual 120 points. 33 disposals, 5 marks and 5 tackles got him there, as he's proving to be the #1 midfielder since the byes ended. 5 of his last 8 have been 120 or more, and he's one of my few players refusing to let me down. Then Jordan Dawson was an absolutely brilliant trade-in, and although I should have had him all season, it was wonderful to trade in a guy for the biggest score of the round with 147 points. He had a game and a half, with 26 touches, 6 marks, a goal, and a whopping 14 tackles. I'm so glad I didn't miss out on this, and for once, I could actually watch him without wanting to turn the TV off. Andy Brayshaw was poor once again, though, with just 76 points against Port, which aren't an easy matchup. Only 1 ton in his last 7 games is incredibly concerning now, and he might even have to go. Only 23 touches, and the only thing he's doing consistently is giving away frees. Then Connor Rozee did all right in his game back with a low 100. I don't exactly know if it's a good thing or not, but he got here with only 19 disposals, thanks to 7 marks, 6 tackles, and 2 goals as well. Quite impressive. My other trade-in was Jack Steele, which I was fully prepared to be a horrendous pick and cop of 50, but he actually did all right, scoring a low ton himself against Richmond. I was kind of hoping for a ceiling score in an easy matchup, but given how bad the Saints were for the most part, I didn't get it. He too only had 17 disposals, but laid 10 tackles that got him over the line. I'm quite worried about his potential scoring moving forward though. His teammate and fellow Jack Sinclair was fantastic with the second highest score of the week, being 146. Thankfully, he took full advantage of the Richmond matchup with 30 disposals, 11 marks and 6 tackles in a huge performance. Every quarter was over 30 as he just played a great game. Finally, Caleb Serong was again disappointing with 93 points as he and Brayshaw continued to underperform. He's averaging 76 in his last 3, which just isn't okay anymore, and I think he is going to have to go now. On the bench, Will Lorenz actually did great with 66 points, proving to be a good cash cow, however. He's just left his run way too late. Then for our rucks, and I already touched on Grundy's struggles, but 83 points was certainly unexpected given the form he's been in. 12 consecutive tons averaging over 125, and then he drops this. He sat a large portion of the fourth quarter on the bench, and I'm worried there's something wrong. All his stats were well down, and unfortunately I made him my captain, which really hurt me this week. My other ruck was far better, and he's the one whose score should have been doubled. Richmond will forever be an amazing matchup for rucks, and Marshall didn't miss his opportunity scoring 135. He only had 24 hitouts as well, but 21 disposals, 6 marks and 9 tackles was a huge stat line to get him that ceiling score. That's 2 big scores in a row now. And his next 2 matchups are dark greens, so he might not be slowing down. Then to the forward line, which wasn't too bad this weekend. Bailey Smith had a really good game with 120 points, which means he's had 3 really good scores since that concerning patch and is averaging 117 for the season. His time on ground is still fairly down from the mid-80s we saw in the first half of the season, but I think Geelong's main concern would be getting him right for finals, and the chance of him missing one of these next 2 games isn't 0. Then Jack McRae scored 101 with the Richmond matchup, making it his best score since round 17 when I traded him in. Even though he managed 26 touches, 7 marks and 4 tackles, his time on ground was still comfortably under 70%, which isn't great for coaches, but definitely something Ross Lyon likes to do. Then Matt Kennedy beat him by a single point with 102 against the Melbourne Demons. This is the scoring I expect from him, so it was great for him to return that. All of the Dogs' mids scored really well, and although he only had 24 touches, he had 5 marks and 6 tackles, which is good to see. Most importantly, his time on ground was also back up to where it should be. Chad Warner did all right again with 94 against Brisbane in that big upset. He kicked a couple of goals, which is nice, and I don't expect much out of him, so a 90 will always be a pleasant surprise. I was hoping Jeremy Cameron would kick another huge bag, and he wasn't that far off, ending up with 4 goals and 5 behinds, so he could have done a bit better. But in a fantasy sense, I was very pleased with his game as he scored 104 points. He scored 85 of his points in the second and fourth quarters, as he didn't have any scoring shots in the other 2 terms. But you take what you can get. Finally, Sam Darcy had 71, which isn't completely terrible. Only a couple of snags for him. So there we have it. I had the 3 highest scores or whatever it was, but failing premiums and a terrible decision with the captaincy cost me big time. It especially hurt since my trades were really good. Bringing in Dawson was obviously fantastic given the huge score he put up, and Jack Steele was good enough with 100 when it could have gone far worse. Petrarca failed, so I'm glad he's finally gone, and Bailey Dale gave me a scare at half-time, but disappeared to once again let down his owners. My +3 should go the Crows skipper, but instead I'm giving it to the Richmond matchup, which never disappoints. I had 5 Saints players in the game, and they delivered just over 600 points, which was just brilliant. For the -3, I have absolutely no choice but to hand it to Lachie Ash for whatever occurred to him. Now let's go to the rankings. Kieran had a good round, and is leading quite comfortably now. I only just found out he's Brodie Grundy's brother, which is sick. Luckily, he knew not to captain him. I would say, at this point, I can only see one of the top 4 taking home the Hilux, but there doesn't look to be much movement set to take place. The highest score of the round then was a 2,575 by James, although there were a few scores around that mark. Then, in the Open League, Tim had an absolutely huge week to solidify first place, and now he's coming in 30th overall, which should guarantee him a hat. Unfortunately, David didn't have a great one, which moved him back a bit, but hopefully if he's lucky, he can make a late charge. Anyway, let's have a quick look at my trades. Caleb Serong is going currently, as I alluded to before, and then to get a decent upgrade, Harry Ralston will also go, although unfortunately, he's lost so much coin. Then Max Holmes comes in with that Richmond matchup in round 24 that I'm looking at. Then the other guy will just be a red dot. See you back on Thursday for our penultimate set of trades.